Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, sacrifice, and most of all, love what you are doing. A very good evening to everyone. On behalf of the management, secretary, principal, and the faculty members of Dwaraka Das, Govardhan Das, Vaishnav College, I feel immense pleasure to invite you all for the second day Ability Enhancement Series 2. I welcome all the faculty members, academicians, distinguished participants, and the resource person for the day. Prayer always be our first response to every situation. So now let us begin our session with college prayer.
सत्यव्रतं सत्यपरं त्रिसत्यं सत्यस्य योनिं निहितं च सत्ये सत्यस्य सत्यं धृतसत्यनेत्रं सत्यात्मकं त्वां शरणं प्रपन्नाः वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणो कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्नः स्मृत्यां शिरस्तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे दृष्टिस्ततां दर्शनेस्तु भवत्तनूनाम् नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनामविभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
As Henry Ford once said, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. As today is our second day on national level webinar Ability Enhancement Series 2021 and Career Guidance, organized by Department of Corporate Secretaryship Shift 2. The main objective of the program is to impart the skills of students with brilliant minds of resource person. I hope all participants will find this webinar as interesting and enhance skills for their career. Hence, enhancing the skill of youth will result in a happy, healthy, prosperous, and strong nation. Skilled India, successful India. The future depends on what you do today. On the silver lining, we shall commence the proceeding of the day. Now, I request Dr. Shubha Subramaniam, Assistant Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship Shift 2, to introduce the resource person, Dr. R. Shanti Ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, University of Madras, for today's Ability Enhancement Series on the topic Workplace Communication and Social.
Thank you, Indumati. Thank you. Good day to one and all present here. I take pride and privilege in introducing our resource person for the day, Dr. Shanti Ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, University of Madras. I'm happy to share some of her astonishing recognitions that she has contributed to the student community so far. She is an experienced and talented professor, having more than 20 years of teaching experience, which includes 3 years of her service in abroad. She has published 40 research papers in various journals and 30 ISBN publications. I'm proud to share that she has published 8 books on various titles. She had made a contribution as a convener by handling academic and administrative responsibility, member of affiliation, board of studies. She is also a member of staff selection recruitment panel and also played a role as research consultant. She is also an academic committee member for various affiliated colleges of Madras University and other institutions in Chennai. She has completed her 3 consultancy projects and acted as a retail convener FICCI for 4 years. Adding a gem to the crown, 10 PhD candidates were awarded through her guidance. She has not stopped with these. She has also shared her knowledge by delivering guest lectures on various topics and made her presence as a resource person for methodology workshops in various institutions in and around Chennai. She has also organized 5 international conferences, 7 seminars, 5 workshops. She had also completed 2 UGC MRP, 1 UPE MRP project, and 3 minor projects. Apart from all these, she is presently doing a project under RUSA 2.0 on willful defaults. Before concluding, let me also make a note on her awards and recognitions. She has been awarded Rashtriya Gaurav Award in the year 2013. She has been awarded Best Paper Award, a paper titled Impact of Cultural Intelligence and OCB Towards Enroll Performance of Public Sector Banks Employees, with reference to Chennai, in the International Levels Conference on Contemporary Issues in Management, organized by Business Administration Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRM University. Again, a Best Paper awarded to her for the paper titled A Study on the Customer Relationship Management in Banking Sector with reference to public sector banks in Chennai. I'm so overwhelmed and thank my department HOD for giving me this opportunity to introduce a legend for our today's session. I also ensure that today's session will be a very informative one for all of us. By this, I once again welcome Dr. Shanti ma'am on behalf of the department. We welcome you, ma'am. Now I request Indumati to take over further.
Ma'am, this Shanti ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Most respected secretary, most respected principal, most respected head of the department, dear faculty members, students. It is my pleasure to participate in this national level webinar. I think skill plays a very critical role for any type of whether you are you are walking or you are studying, skill play a very great role. So I'm very happy that department is organizing such programs, and today is your second program. And my best wishes to the department, faculty members, as well as to the students. Now, I want this to be an interactive session because we learn from each other. It's not that I know little more and you don't know. We all know. We learn day in, day out many things. So what I wanted to tell you is that let us learn together. Let this be a very interactive session. I request the students also to participate. May I now request and thank Dr. Subha for the kind words. I think I have to do even more to reach that expectation. I'm just doing a little. Yeah, this is only my little contribution to whatever knowledge I have. Yeah, with a small introduction, let me just go into the topic. Can I have the screen, please? Maybe you can just go from the first one, first slide, and can you make it a little more bigger? Yeah, full screen mode. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about workplace communication and social skills, especially. For me, skill matters a lot. The first thing, see, knowledge is the one thing which we gain from our academic institutions, because we have renowned professors to give us the foundation of knowledge. Sometimes I think a little more skill is necessary to exhibit the knowledge, and this skill gives us more confidence, if you agree with me. Now, before going into the subject, I just wanted to know what is skill, by the way. What we talk about skill, because this is we talk about skill India, even everywhere you find there are many colleges are also organizing skill development programs, etc. What is the skill? To put it in one line, if I ask you, you can just use your chat box, uh, if necessary. You can just use a chat box so that we can have an interactive communications, because the mic will not be there. Yeah, may I know what is skill in a one line? Hope you can hear me well. I heard there are many students participants are also there. I just wanted to know, let it be a right or wrong answer. There's nothing like a right and wrong answer. And please remember, your internals are not based on this. And this is something which is extra. This is not, there's no evaluation process in this. As I told you earlier, we are just learning. Yeah, I am also learning along with you. Any answers we have received?
Ma'am, students have posted in the chat box, ma'am, in comment. Ma'am, students have posted in the chat box, ma'am. Due to technical glitches, madam has got disconnected. We'll call madam again.
Students, ma'am will join in shortly. Due to technical glitches, ma'am couldn't able to join. You can post the answers in the chat box. Ma'am asked my question, right?
Yeah, some issues
Yeah,
with net.
madam. Many
Sorry.
many students have posted some answers in the chat box, ma'am. Like since I
Okay,
was
it's
in
okay.
presentation mode, I am not able to just call out from here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Uh, I think I'll just go ahead. Please share.
Students have, ma'am, one second. Students have told like skill means talent, ability to do
Okay.
something. I'll just call out what they have typed actually. Then yeah, skills, talent. Only that we have got, ma'am. Skills means talent, ability, like that, ma'am.
Okay.
In comment, you can check for their messages, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
just put them in.
Yeah. Please go to the next. So, talking about skills, we call it as a soft skills. Next slide, please. We call it as a soft skill. What are these soft skills is all about? So one of the skill is communication. There are many other skills are also there, and under communication you will find it very interesting that though we communicate more than 8, some say 72%, some research says 80% of our communication is only through the non-verbal. So though we say verbal, we use a lot of words to communicate, but actually we use a lot of non-verbal communication also. So I thought the body language will be very quite interesting to talk about. And I have some interesting case studies also, which you will think, you will, what to say, through body language, they have solved many cases. That we will have it at the end. So first we will talk about what is a skill, what are the soft skills, what is communication, we also require a little of motivation skills, leadership skills, and other things. And my favorite is about the creativity, etc. So to put it very simple, soft skill, you call it as a people skill, social skill, communication, personality traits, attitudes, career attributes, or social intelligence. See, I'm not talking about the knowledge part of you. I'm just talking about knowledge is something which is being there. I'm talking about these skills. Everybody has skills. I'm not telling that this is being reserved for only few people. I'm not talking in that way. Everybody has a skill. It is only requires something tuning up. Sometimes we may not even know that we have a skill, but only when we attend a particular workshop or other things, then we come to know about it. Next slide, please. So why you need skills? First, at the time of interview, it will help you to place yourself. You will have more confidence in talking about it. For example, communication skill that gives you more confidence in what is it in attending the interview, in putting across the views, etc. I find as I told you, that there are many times I conduct interviews. I find two different things. One who is very good in communications are not very good in the fundamentals, and those who are very good in fundamentals, they are not able to communicate properly. So it is a lopsided. But I want a person who is good in the fundamentals, as well as I want someone who can also communicate very easily. So soft skill, as I told you, it is a people skill, and it describes a personal attribute. It is a high level of emotional intelligence. And why you need a skill, I told you, to get a job and also to remain in a job. See, remaining in a job is also considered as very important. It is that one time you can make an impact, and maybe through some technique, but to have the particular job, you need a particular skill set. So it can be a college, it can be or a higher order thinking or performance skills, knowledge, challenging content, whatever it you talk about. You need these type of skills in order to enter, in order to retain your employability. Okay. Maybe next skill. Next slide, please. So soft skill I was talking about. These are the few things which I wanted to tell you. You have talking about this creative thinking, which I told you. This is an out of box thinking. To give you one simple example, I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about some 15 years ago, maybe around 2004. I was in Singapore for 3 years. So the job was to invigilate. Unlike here, there, if you find someone copying, what you have to do is you can just take you have to just take the notes and then pin it, and then you submit, and it is over. No questions have been asked. Once I was in an invigilator room, and then I was just walking. I know one of the student is what to say, she is doing some malpractices, but I'm not able to figure out what it is, how she is doing. She was wearing a full hand, and then nothing I could do, but 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 something was still something. I was just again and again and again. My what to say, my inner voice is talking about something is fishy or wrong. But then I came to know that she wrote everything on her hand. Now, if I allow her to go, she will just wash and I will not have any proof. I need to submit a proof. So that time, the Android phones were not that popular. I'm talking about 2000s, 2002, 2003. But I just took a photo of that and then attached and gave it. The student after the exam, she came to me and she said, "Oh, you are very brilliant. I thought you won't be able to catch me because if I go to washroom on under some pretext, I can just clean it and you will not have anything." That's what I had in my mind. But somehow you just thought in an how to say, you call it as an out of box thinking. Now we use photos and other things that become very popular, but I'm just talking about those days. And just because of this, I could just okay, take a and it was like, what to say, to me personally, I don't want someone to what to say, it is like a cheating. Okay, someone, I do not want someone to cheat and escape from that. And it was a fulfilling. So like this, there may be many creative thinking. These cone ice cream, it's a creative thinking by someone. The cups were not there, and then they thought they can use this cone and then fill it with the cream, and then it became very popular. Cone ice cream just became very popular. It is only an out of box thinking, or you call it as a creative thinking. So creative thinking is very important to sustain. You do it in a different, unique way and fetch it. There are many examples you can just see in our day-to-day circumstances. Now you have, what is it, phones, drone phones have come, mobile phones, drone phones have come, because people just merely drop it. Or sometimes if the light is very poor, we just use our own light for as a touch. So you need not carry it. It will just, the phones will be used as a drone, and then even if it will not fall on the floor. So see, somebody has thought these are all requirements. When you think about phone is only for talking, receiving and making a communication, but we never expected that through phone we can just make so many things possible. So that means that you are very creative in our approaches. So these are all the some of the points which we wanted to do. And a very important point which I wanted to tell you is the time management. Managing one's time is very important, and don't say I do not have time. It is only how we are not able to allocate plan in advance. And time management is very different in different culture, which we will discuss little later. So networking, and then what to say, conflict resolution and other things are also part of this skills. Please go to the next slide, please. We will discuss little one by one, but most of my lecture is only based on communication. Yeah. Now talking about the most valued soft skills. I have listed many things. The one of the important thing is focus. What do you want to be? Some students, they need to know your inner strengths. Your inner strengths. Do make a SWOT analysis. Okay. Suppose, for example, in an interview, somebody asks you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Strength is easily to tell. I am very sincere. I'm very smart worker. I am very flexible. I am able to do much better. I update very frequently. You can just talk about it. But when it comes to your weaknesses, what will you say? So, what I will suggest is that if you talk about weaknesses, don't say I am lazy and I may not be able to do it on time. Sometimes I mean, don't talk about those things, but talk about those things which if you can rectify and make it very positive. For example, maybe I would have attended these conferences, or maybe I would have equipped myself with these skill sets so that I may be able to do much better. So that way you can just project it. So when you attend an interview, when you say strength, yes, you can talk about. Don't say I'm very sincere, workaholic, etc. That is not needed. You just say I will what is it? I will be able to do the work assigned to me, whatever work as per the expectation or as per the requirement of the particular situation or particular company process, etc. Don't say very sincere, very loyal, and other things. These are all outdated principles. Just say people many companies looking for teamwork and other things. So you can just talk about that you are very good in team, working with the team, very flexible. You update yourself and ready to learn, unlearn, learn. So you can just talk about in this way so that that the management will be able to understand you much better. Okay, so you have these valued soft skills are there. I have just listed many things to you. I'm not This is not an exhaustive list, to put it very simply. These are all the some of the things which come to my mind. Next slide, please. So weaknesses, think about those things which you wanted to, which will, if it can be rectified, modified, will become a positive one. Yes. So among all the skills, the first one which will impress others is the communication skills. How do I learn? Many things we will discuss one by one, and certain things, if we how to say, if we correct ourselves, we will be able to convey the right thing, right messages to the right people at the right time. Okay, we will set out one by one, and maybe at the end we can have a question and answer session also, if I'm not able to convey the right one. Okay, so communication is needed, and it is part and parcel of our life. Social group and plan, coordinate activity, and any organization will be sharing many messages. That it's a formal structure, informal structure, grapevine, etc., which you need to you communicate with others, so that yeah, and there should not be any barriers and other things. So communication is part and parcel of anything, whether it is at home or at an organization structure setup, or in a social setting. Communication plays a very greater role, and it helps you to put across your values, your views. And also, if you are very good in communication, you will be able to, what is it, convince others, and thereby understand the behavior or attitude of the others. So communication is the crux of all the skills. And if you have a good communication, and with the necessary, what to say, your basic knowledge, you will be able to excel in any field. Next slide, please. I know you all know there are various different ways of communications, and there are different there are also various ways of what to say, various barriers in communication, and the what to say, you're talking about the levels, etc., which I'm not touching because this has been already been covered in your academic. So you see this particular photo, which please remember this photo. Maybe we will talk about this photo a little later. So you need to have an effective communication. Make a eye to eye contact. Make an eye to eye contact when you talk to your particular person. Make an eye to eye contact. And what to say, some people may handshake. In some culture, they just greet you by bowing. So you need to understand. Please remember, we will be working in a global organization, whether it may be in India or it may be other places. We will be working with cross-cultural team, maybe from other countries as well. So we need to communicate in such a way that what is it? It should not harm their what is it? Their personal values, etc. So one need to, before communicate, before everything, one need to understand their culture, the do's and don'ts of the other culture. For example, I'll give you one simple example. If you talk about time management, which is again one of the favorite pet topic of myself. How do we manage time? In talking about Europe or Western countries, you say you must have come across these phrases: save time, time is money, time is value, something like that. So what does this mean? This means that this culture gives a lot of importance to time. That means that you are very punctual. So they plan everything in advance and they go by step process, and there is no delay. And even if there is any meeting, if you talk about Western and other cultures, there's not much personal introductions, etc. They just go straight into the topic. If with the case of a negotiation, they just go straight into the topic of negotiation and negotiate. But if you talk about Arab countries, South Asia, Asian countries, this time is valued as a people time. That means that we spend a little more time in in building the relationship with others. So especially in Arab countries, etc., the first day they will spend in understanding the other person very well. They need to understand the person before entering into the contract. So suppose an Arab, a person from an Arab and a person from US, if they come into a negotiation table, they find it very difficult to negotiate, because the US person may think you have to start Western. If a person from Western countries may think you have to start the negotiation straight away, but uh, a person from East, he will be more, what to say, he will not understand this process, because for him people more important, relationship more important. Then they will go for the negotiation. So there is a mismatch, and we will say that it will end up in a flop show. So that is why what I wanted to say is that before before going in for any interview and etc., please understand what is this company is about. What is their culture? A little on organization culture. What do they do? Do they have an informal culture? What is this organization culture they are following? How do they address, or what do they do, etc.? And then you go. And one more thing which I wanted to give you an example is that I will give you two examples. One, when you go to an interview, suppose you go little early, don't go late, because the boss can come very little late, but not the what to say, you have applied and you have to go little early. You have to wait patiently. Sometimes you are there and the interview, they are not going to start. The maybe imagine that the door is shut and they are not yet opened the organization as well. So what do? Don't be restless. Don't talk to the security. Oh, why this company is like this? We have come all the way, and we are ready to have we missed our breakfast, and how can they make us to wait like this under the sun, under the moon? You don't talk about all such things because your behavior is being observed. You will be very surprised to hear 20 years back, not now, I think almost 25 years back, I attended one interview. uh, thereby there was a group discussion, so we have to enter into a room for a GD. They gave us a topic, and we were just waiting for the manager to come. So we were all placed in a round table. For half an hour, we just waited for half an hour, no manager. 45 minutes, no one turned up. And we were little restless, we were little restless, and we were just wondering what is going on. And then we just came out. Wow, we just came out to ask when will be the GD. And you will be surprised to know he merely said the GD is over. And we were little surprised and even shocked to hear that the GD was over even without discussing. So what they did is they fixed cameras and observed our behavior, where we are sitting. And suppose we are waiting for half an hour or 45 minutes. See, we did not bother to ask whether the interview, whether you are starting a GD. So who is taking the initiative? Who will be the leader? Who is taking that initiative? Who will become the proposed leader, and how you are sitting in a particular place, and are you talking to the other person, or you are just on your own? So they have just observed all your non-verbal behavior. They did not ask you about any issues, they did not ask you about your communication, etc., but just by behavior. So with half an hour, 45 minutes, nothing was discussed, but still the GD was over. And in many cases, please remember, in an interview board, one person from psychology will be there. He will not ask you any questions. His main role is he will observe you from the beginning till end. How you walk into the room, the walking matters. Please remember. No, I'm not asking you to walk like the heroes there. I'm just asking you. See, everybody is nervous. To tell you very frankly, even if you ask me to attend an interview today, I'll be little more nervous. Why nervous? In the sense, because you are prepared, and you do not know whether you will live up to that particular standard. And this particular nervousness is necessary. This particular stress is necessary because that will bring out the best in you. Okay, I'm not talking about the nervousness, but one person with all the thing, how you walk, and sometimes beginning you say something, and at the end, in between, you change your tone and the other thing, and the end you take a opposite view. You think that others are not noticing. No, they will notice. One person will be a silent observer, and he will take care. Recently we conducted an interview, and then we just noted everything, how they sat, and how what is the body language, how they sat, tilting the head, your eye contacts, what to say, the tone, everything we just noticed apart from the knowledge, etc. So please be little more careful when you talk. Please go to the next slide, please. Yeah, this is what I told you. We need to improve our communication because 70% is misunderstood. Please remember, this is not mine. This is based on some research. Misunderstood, misinterpreted, sometimes rejected, distorted, and yes, not here. Only two people will be talking, but actually six people will be talking, because even before he could complete, you talk, and even before you will be discussing about 4 or 5 issues. And many times one should agree, even I can tell myself that we are not good listeners. We are not good listeners. And to tell you, please touch your conscience. Suppose the class is going on for 1 hour. Can anybody say, yes, I listened to all the 60 minutes? Can anybody say? No. I know it is very impossible for you to do at this age or at any age because we will be thinking about something else and we hear something which we wanted to hear. Yeah, and sometimes we may have pre-stereotypes in our views, and suppose if somebody is talking in another way, we may just reject him. No, it is not possible. For example, 10 years back, 10 years back, now space travel is there. Still, yeah, two companies, they just took people to the space travel. But 10 years back, when they were talking about space travel, people just merely laughed at it. So that means that they have rejected that idea. But um, but still the company went ahead and then worked on it, and the space travel is possible today. It is a reality today. So what is that I wanted to tell you is that even before we hear fully from the other person, we have our own perception. And we don't hear either properly, misunderstand, or just reject them completely. So uh, sometimes it is possible in another 100 years. Suppose I ask you what will be the mode of transport in another 20 years, 100 years. There are many. Loop travel is there, and then sometimes possible. If I think I want to be at Mumbai, maybe in another 5 minutes I'll be there. Who knows? Yeah, and now there are people are working. Some companies are working about immortality. That is, they just wanted you to keep young at no, you won't you will look young at the same phase, whether you are 50, 60, 70, 80, etc. You will look like a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old. People are into that particular to say research. So anything is possible. Please remember, taking the first step is very, very crucial. And once it is done, finding or to say researching, you getting the first telephone is very important. But with a pager mobile, and with a mobile, I was talking about the drone mobile, anything is possible tomorrow. So don't misunderstand, don't misinterpret. Listen and listen, and only that will improve. To say, you can form a community perception, don't form before hearing about it. Yeah, please go ahead. And this slide, the next slide we are talking about is uh, our what is the communication we are talking about. Next slide, please. What is the communication we are talking about? We have too many types of communications. I was talking about verbal communication. I was talking about non-verbal communication. Please remember, uh, I don't know. You observe your teachers next time. Okay, one who is using hands very frequently uh, makes a very effective communication, rather than you sit, you just fold your hand, you strict if you do, or it is not a very effective communication. So they are not speaking from there, or to say, making a genuine impact. So there are various ways, and you will be able to judge. Not just judging, you can also to say improve a few things, and your chances in the future. So you see here, the majority of your resume, it comes from how you communicate. Your perceived ability comes from how you communicate. So if you talk about these things, you see the visual, verbal, non-verbal plays a very great role. So you see here, tone, your voice modulation is very, very, very important in order to, what to say, uh, in order to convince others. I hope you must have attended many Republic Day parades, etc. And the command that they give in a very, very, very effective way, and you feel very, what is it, very proud moment for those following it. And a psychologist, or maybe you are a mother, maybe you have to subtle, you have to be very subtle in your communications in other times. So you have to do a lot of voice modulation. Suppose I speak in one single tone, what will happen? Yeah, it's very easy to go to sleep. And I do not know, because afternoons many teachers do not prefer to take class. For me, it is not that way. Every hour is okay, as long as what to say, the matter is very important rather than the time. So somebody say 93 percentage of all communication is non-verbal. That means it is skill. Some researchers say 80 percentage, but whatever it is, above 70 percentage, many have agreed 70, 75, 80 percentage of all our communication is non-verbal. That means that we are using a lot of body languages to do. Next slide, please. Okay, what do you want to achieve through this today? This will provide knowledge about your communication, give insights into skill needed. You will know, since I told you, the major chunk of non-verbal chunk of communication is non-verbal. So if you are going to be very careful about using this, you can make a effective presentation or impress during your interview, or in your workplace you can convince your colleagues. Okay, so give insight into skill needed and suggest ways to going about it. What do you need to do? Learn the tools, take up every opportunity, please use every opportunity, and just practice and practice. Before making your presentation, you can just stand before your mirror and then see how you're making presentation. In our own university, when I ask some students to make a presentation, some people will be just sticking a piece of paper. They just roll and roll. That shows the fear, the nervousness. And so how do you come out of it? I won't say everybody will achieve at the first time, but what I wanted to say is that these things, this fear, nervousness can be easily avoided if we went through the process. So you cannot ask me to, you tell me that I also went through the process. So if I can do it, yes, anybody can do it. First time I remember in my class, I was just entered into the university as a research scholar in the 90s, and my guide asked me to take a class. It was a 2-hour class. He informed me only at 10 o'clock class. So I just took few notes and went inside. I used to speak little faster uh, during those time, and I could finish everything whatever I know by 1 hour. So 10 to 11. I had one more hour to go. So I was just no first time class. So I did not know what to do. I just blinked, and then you have to just manage the class. So I had a couple of exercises, couple of games and other things, and I just managed the show. So what I mean to say is that just practice. Just by practice, when you want to make a presentation, just we practice. You see, if the presentation you need to do, make it only for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You just have a stopwatch, practice, then so that you won't miss the important part of your presentation. So it builds a confidence in you. Uh, for example, when you make a good presentation, you are very happy. That builds a very confidence. So next time you will not have that fear. Please remember, you must have attended a few, to say, during the election time, you must have attended, at least heard some people, some politicians talk. Some of their presentation are very good. Will attract more crowd, and some may not be able to do. Why? Because you must have an eye contact, establish an eye contact, the flow of your presentation, the body language, everything matters to you. Okay, and we will see one by one. So yeah, next slide please. So it improves your confidence. So why communication is important? See, when you make a very good presentation, you feel very happy. Yes, I did it. Suppose you are not able to get that particular thing, you feel what to say? Uh, oh, I lost. I should have done this. I should have avoided. So you become a one more critic on that. So it builds respect in business and social life, making friends, and I would say that communication is very important as a personality also. It reveals your ability. It is one of the personality trait also. Extroverts, introverts are there, and extroverts are very good in making friends, networking, etc., which is very important in your career. Next slide, please. So images. So what do we do? Now we need to add the visual presentation also. So you have what is it? The sound, touch, taste, smell. So use all the audience senses. Please remember why we are not making any purchases through the internet, because we are not able to touch, feel, sense, etc. But now, thanks to the technology, soon we will have these these also, and definitely it will make. And you have the 3D printers, you can just buy anything and everything. They are building houses as well. So that's what I say. What is it? Creative thinking, learning, time management, the communication plays a very greater role for you. Next slide, please. So you have to first visually present. When you enter into a restaurant, uh, when you enter into a restaurant, what do you think? When you see the food, how it has been arranged, the color, the smell. From there, we judge the quality of the food even before eating it. So that is what I say. Visual presentation is very, very important. Not just. I know in your exams you just make all markings and other things. So that way that enhances, that gives you how to say, making it important things more visible, to make it very visible. Okay, what do you think from this person? Just look at this. Yeah, please remember, uh, when you go for an interview, I was talking about the group discussion, right? You will be just sitting in an oval shaped. There will be many chairs will be there. So there will be a header chair will be there. So one with a leadership quality will sit in that place. If there is nothing like that, and this side some 6 seats are there, and this side some four seats are there, prefer one which has a lesser seats, because again a leader will be on that side. Okay, and some people may take a position at the fag end of the table. That also suggests that you are a leader. So please remember, in an interview, more than your knowledge, these verbal communications, non-verbal communications play a very greater role. Yeah, next slide, please. I will come to this point little later. Please remember this person. Okay, you will judge on your own what he is talking about. So to make an effective presentation, you must have a prior preparations, prior knowledge about the subject little. Google it out. Please don't use the Google alone, because you have repetition. So use some books and references for getting some important facts, because everybody will be talking about the same issue. So if you want to be little different, you have to search other resources so that you can give some value added materials. Second, prepare and prevent. You have to walk out for all the other possibilities, and you have to, what to say, you see that you are not a poor performer. You have to convince yourself that I am on par, or I will be able to perform So what I'm supposed to do, what is expected, what is the goal that I'm striving for? Is Am I making a paper presentation in a conference or a seminar, to make across a point, or I'm attending an interview for a communication for fetching a job, or is it for my promotion, or or making a presentation in a meeting? So what is the end goal? What is the performance? The fifth P. So according to that, you need to modify yourself. Please go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So how do I make an effective presentation communication? I told you this: overcome the fear. That's what I said. People will just scroll the paper. You always have a paper, and people usually play with the paper, or they tap their foot, or make a circle, or some people may be very, what to say, there are various ways in which they express the fear. So you have to overcome the fear, and you must have an idea of speech, what I'm going to talk about it. The third is, to whom I'm going to talk about it. Am I going to talk about a person who do not know about the subject, or going to talk about a person who know fundamentals, or to an elite group? So that way you have to organize your speech. So yeah, beforehand, please ask to whom I'm going to make this presentation. Next slide, please. Yeah, developing your outline, develop what is your goal. This I have already done. So please go to the next slide, please. we understand from our point of view rather than from the sender's point of view. So and always the gap is because of the sender and receiver. Sender maybe use jargons and other thing. The receiver may not be able to understand, or they may understand in their own way. So one need to be little more careful when you send the newsletters, instructions, and etc. It should be what to say crystal clear, and without any in a simple way, without any jargons, and with all the instructions. So you have to coin the message, read again and again, or give it to someone else also for read, so that they understand in the same way that you are intended for it. Next slide, please. Yeah, this you all know. I'm skipping this. Next slide, please. Because I have something more to cover. Yes, the handshakes. Okay, the first handshake. What do you think about it? I know we cannot have an interactive session. Okay, maybe I know you can hear me, but I just cannot hear you. Anyway, you see the first photo. You see that the both the things so handshake, you have a handshake. Okay, if both the hands are firmly together, that means that both the persons are very important. Okay, X and Y, the first photo, you see both the hands are on the same line. So both of them are the other person is also treating him on par. Sometimes you feel that when a person or shake his hand, the other person's hand will be fully inside this person, or maybe his hand will be much higher than the other person. That means that he is showing that he is more powerful or authoritative, etc. So there are various ways to understand the handshake. So when you do a handshake, suppose you are going to do a handshake with your boss, just do as your boss. Suppose your boss is giving here, to say, a soft handshake, you just don't do a handshake with your boss. So finally, the one who conducted the interview gave a handshake. This guy, he just conducted it very in a very authoritative manner. So just because of the handshake, he lost his job, because that convey that you are very authoritative. Because he just a forceful handshake, to just put it very simply, a forceful handshake. So the employer thought that this guy will not listen to him, or he will he will be a threat, or he will not mingle with others. So he did not get placement. Please remember, after all the every process, there are 4 or 5 processes there. After the last step, the interview is also over and people were very happy. They were about to give him the letter, and before that, one of the panel members shook a hand with him, and then this guy, just because of the handshake, this person did not get. You won't believe there are many cases you can come across. So what I say is that so subtle things like this are very important in our, what to say, because we will be more bothered about the questions, how do we answer, etc. So in that, in the context, we will miss out these subtle things. So what I want the students to take care is that please take care of these subtle things, which is which is also very important for them. And you see how they are standing in the third picture. You will see how they are standing. So if you close your hands like this, they are very close minded people. So you have to leave your hands like this. Some people, you see, they put both the hands in their coat pockets. That shows that they are very authoritative, and they have everything in their control, just to exhibit that they are, everything is under their control. And so there are various ways in which you express yourself. The fourth, that is the correct way of shaking a hand. You have to bend little forward with a smile on your face, and then do everything, the handshake within 2 to 3 seconds. So that is the one of the best way to do the handshake. Next slide, please. So we communicate a lot of things through our body language. Yeah, this is quite interesting. See, remember, the first person is crossing the leg. Remember, initially there was a photo, one person was talking like this. He was putting his his legs crossed. So you should not think you should not put your legs crossed, and you have to have openness. You have to think like sit like this. That shows that you are very confident. And you see many of them tilt their head. Most of the women will tilt their head. I will come to that in a minute. So yeah. So you have to talk the posture, how you sit, how you keep your hands, how you keep your legs. You just don't do, yeah. Yeah, look at this picture, and look at this picture. This talks about entire body language is being depicted in this picture. Your wrinkles, what to say, how you put your hands. This will give you an overall picture. Please go through the slide. It is self-explanatory, to tell you in a simple way. It's a very self-explanatory. So you see, we think, we are more engrossed about how to what to say, what not to say, etc. But actually, as I told you, more than 80% of the communication we are doing it through the non-verbal mode. So the body language is very important. When you enter into a boardroom for an interview, don't have your files like this. You can easily very well keep the files over there and be relaxed. Because if you keep everything, it means that you are very nervous. So you tap your foot on the table, and you tap your foot on the table, So suppose you blink when you start your conversation. If you speak truth, I tell you one thing. There are some few tips which I wanted to share. Yeah, when you talk about this body languages, these are all the part and parcel of your non-verbal communications. Okay, uh, I'll give you a few tips in order to understand others. When you speak to someone, yeah, this is what I was talking about. See the first picture. This is how you need to. Otherwise, again, these pictures again self-explanatory. Uh, the way you sit, that talks about your confidence level, or whether people can rely on you, or you're speaking the truth, or you are just you are very bored and you just wanted to leave the place. The way you sit indicates that you just wanted to leave the place as early as possible, because you are one of the toes will be pointing out to there. So if you sit, that means that you are about to go. You lean forward, and if you're one of the foot is showing out, that means that you are about to go. So the other person will think, please remember, sometimes people will tilt their head. Uh, what do you mean by tilting the head? Tilting the head is somewhat talking about openness. You are very open. That is one of the gestures you're talking about, posture you're talking about. For example, from now onwards, you look into any advertisements, most of the women will, you see, tilt their head in most of the advertisement. If you see, maybe you can just observe, and then observe, and you will find out. You can observe now onwards. Please don't forget about the message that is being conveyed through the advertisement. Look into the non-verbal communications, what they're talking about. It will be quite interesting to note. Yeah, next slide, please. Yes, this is what I was talking about. One thing in your pocket, or this is closed. People do not depend on them. And if you have your both the hands on your hip, that means that you are about to speak the truth. Yeah, please go to the next slide, please. So, please remember, these are all the subtle things which we need to take care. Yeah, again, you're talking about this is again in the business, or in a company. How you place your fork and your spoon, that also matters. Okay, in many hotels, if you place it in some in a particular way, that means that your meal is over. If you place it like this, that means that you are yet to finish. So there are various ways to communicate, even with a simple thing like the fork and the spoon. Okay, please go to the next slide, please. And one need to be very careful when you are working in a global company, because you do not want to offend others. Yeah, the importance of introduction in, okay. So you have to does a you maybe when you start a conversation, You can just, in an interview, you can just start with yourself, your background. Where did you do your schooling, college, etc.? What is your don't give personal details like I am very lazy and other things. No, you will only talk about in a professional way what you have achieved, and in what way you will think that what made you to apply this, so that in what way you will be fit into that. So giving a small introduction is again very very important. Thereby, not only the communication, they will come to know the to say the basic important points or something about yourself. Go to the next slide, please. This is what I said. Give you a firm handshake. And when you go to give you before giving a handshake, please understand whether the other person will be ready or not. In one of the sales what is a meeting, that's a one of the salesman gave a handshake, and then this was at the end of the sale. He went to make a sales presentation in a particular company, and the company was so impressed about the product, and they were about to place an order. The salesperson who made the demonstration, etc., he just wanted to shake the hand, and this irritated the customer, and he just nearly canceled the order. See, more than the product, I know people will buy if your product is very good, but sometimes we may not buy. Sometimes we buy even though we may not need a product, because we just wanted to help the person. Sometimes even the product is good, and something we will not buy the product because we will be irritated, because that may be because of one of the behavior, some way the person has irritated us so much. Okay. So rules to introduction: younger people to older people, junior ranking professionals to senior ranking professionals, business contact staff to clients. So if you forget someone's name during an introduction, don't worry. You can just make an apologistically. You can just say, "Could you please remind me?" So that is not that is not a big issue at all. So stay around till both the parties start speaking. So you have to do what to say, enhance or make things happen also. Go to the next slide, please. I will just go slightly. Yeah, handshake, I have already told you. Go to the next slide. See, there are various ways of handshaking. It's a gesture of acceptance and welcome. Uh, Extend your right hand, okay, to finger, give slight, to say, a slight pressure. That's what I told you. Don't give an authoritative one. People will not like it. Look into the eyes and smile. Release the hand in 3 seconds. Whatever. Don't never ever refuse to accept someone's hand. Okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. This is about a telephonic talk. When you initiate a call, identify yourself, tell basic nature of your call, why you have called them, have someone answer your call, always return calls, no phone calls during meetings. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, this is the body language which I wanted to talk about. Speaking without the words. What is body language? To put it in one simple word. Yeah, before that, these are all the few things which you wanted to do it in an office setting. Greetings, punctuality. Yeah, in the college, yes, of course, you are all very punctual to the core. Again, the culture differences are there. In Western culture, Germany, if you are punctual, you need to be little 10 minutes earlier to the place. That is what called as a punctual. In certain culture, even in our own country, coming late is a VIP culture. If you are a VIP and you just wanted to show your power, etc., you always make the others wait and you come. But now I won't say this. There is a lot of changes in our own culture also. We do not want to wait. people will become restless, and that gives a negative perception. But usually in a common perception I'm talking about, Asian things, we are little flexible in our timing, in the sense that 3 o'clock, we will not to say we will not, we are, though we wanted to start at 3 o'clock, maybe even if it is delayed by 5 or 10 minutes, we still give the room, we will still adjust. But Western countries do not, they just go by minute. So greetings, punctuality, space, yeah, you cannot stand it. You will be very surprised to see the space is a very important concept when it comes to what is it, Norwegian. Norwegian, there will be only two lanes will be there, and everybody will be going in that one particular lane. And even in the queue, okay, suppose in UK there are two queues are there to buy a ticket, and one more counter is open. uh, what will happen is that the first three-person are there, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh person will go in such a way, that means that they will go in that order. 4, 5, 6, 7 will go in that order. So that is talking about UK. Okay, uh, uh, but in case of India, people will just rush, and it's very difficult to find what is a queuing system and over there. And if you talk about space again in Norwegian system, you see there are more space. I'm not talking about social distancing that we are following it, but usually the distances they maintain is very it's the space is more between two persons. And time, yeah, how you manage your time. And what to say, you play the host postures, which I have told you. And for example, you have to talk about what is it, credit and compliments. These are all some of the things when you attend in an office. Next slide, please. Yes. Please go to the previous one. Yeah, body language. What is body language? It's just simply speaking without words. As I already told you, that we use a lot of non-verbal languages. So gestures like this thumbs up. But please remember, in US and other places, maybe this may be acceptable, but not in other countries. In some countries, will not take this gestures very careful, very politely. They take it as a rude. So what I wanted to suggest is that before, don't practice everything every way. You have to understand with whom we are doing it, and after careful analysis about other person, please follow, and please do not offend them, their values and culture. What is incongruence? In the sense that see, uh, why you are you late? Sometimes your parents at home may ask you, why are you late? You will give n number of to say excuses. The class was late, or missed the bus, this, that. But actually, your mother will be able to judge the way you answer. Congruence in the sense, there is a match between your body language and your verbal communication. Both are same. That means that you are speaking truth. Suppose you are not speaking truth, your verbal communication may be one thing, but you will be doing something else. Through the non-verbal communication, you will be able to find out, because it will be incongruence. So please remember, it both should be incongruence and facial expressions. Yeah, with a smile. Some people will like smile like this. That itself, you can find out that you are not most welcome. I have already touched about posture and personal space. Next slide, please. Shall we go to a video? Do I have time? I'm not sure. Yeah. Shall we go to a small video?
Sure, ma'am.
We will
We'll go for
have
a video. Yeah, we'll go for a video, ma'am.
practice session. Yeah. Do I have how many?
Ma'am, we can extend for another 20 minutes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Ma'am, we can extend for another 20 minutes. Ma'am, we can extend for another 20 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Nice. Thank you. I have one video at least. I want them to participate. I
Sure,
think
ma'am.
you will be the best. I want some feedback from the students because for this video at least, or someone
Okay.
can watch and post it to me. Do not know. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. First, I will just
Post
post the video. I'll share.
among the 3 videos which I have sent it. um, the CAA officer video link. Yeah, this is what I want. Yes. I'm not able to hear audio.
Ma'am, not able to hear it. Again, I'll share it.
Video because they will come to know the particular person through the body language.
Somebody throws out religion.
Please play from the beginning. Yeah.
Good morning. I recognize what we're going to talk about this morning is a little bit different than what you guys usually think about as you're doing your daily jobs and things like that. But, you know, Nizzy and Shireen both mentioned a minute ago that everybody lies, right? I mean, you all probably been lied to in the past, maybe even told a lie or two in the past. Do I have anybody in the room who's going to tell me they never lie? No one? Okay, that's good. At least I don't see anyone with the lights on. Would it surprise you if I told you, actually, let's do a little experiment first. I want you to find someone in the room, and I want you to point at them. I know it's rude, but I want you to point at them. And as you're pointing, I'm going to point at you. Who are you? Aaron. I'm going to point at Aaron. So find someone in the room, point at them, and then look around to see who's staring at you, who's pointing at you, okay? So then I want you to hold your hand up, and with this being 5 and this being 0, I want you to, and I'd like everybody to do this for just a moment. With this being 0, this being 5, tell me how many times you think that person has lied in the last 24 hours. Okay, now look around the room and just look around the room and see what people are doing and saying. Okay, look around the room. Okay, you put your hands down. You can put your hands down. Let me start by saying you guys are a really, really polite group because I saw a lot of these. I saw a couple of these, a few of these. I didn't have any flashers though. Normally I do this training. I got people with both hands flashing. They take their shoes off if they could. I talk about how many times they think people had lied. All right. Would it surprise you if I told you that a person lies an average of 10 times a day? Okay. Now, I know some of you are sitting in there going, no, that's not true. I don't lie 10 times a day. But think about it for just a moment. When I talk about lying 10 times a day, I'm talking about things like somebody asking you how you're doing, and you have a splitting headache, and you say fine because you don't want to get into it. All right. So when I talk about lies, I'm talking about a complete range from those little white lies that we tell either not to hurt someone's feelings or to keep a conversation from going in a direction we don't want it to go in, to those really big, bold-faced lies where I didn't do it. Okay. Why is this important to you guys? Why is knowing what a lie looks like to you is important to you? Whether you're hiring employees, whether you got a screening process going, whether you have an investigation because someone's been stealing from your company and you need to put yourself in an investigative mindset, any of those things that you touch as executives in retail or folks that are involved in retail, it's important. If you're a buyer and you're going out looking to see if you're getting the best deal on the things that you're looking to buy, do you want to know if that person's telling you the truth, or do you want to know if you have a little bit more wiggle room? So the purpose of teaching you about lying today, and I'm not going to tell you everything about it because we don't have all day, but I'm going to touch on the things that are most important to you. And I hope that you'll find that they do have something to do with what you guys do on a day-to-day basis, okay? If I forget to say this, and I usually do, I'm going to say it before I leave. When you finish this 45 minutes with me, you're going to be dangerous. You're going to know just enough to be dangerous, all right? So don't take this home and use it on your significant others. Not going to lead you where you want to go. Children, however, use it all the time on kids. All right? I have a 16-year-old son. If his lips are moving, he's lying. All right? So just setting you up with that. So let's get into this. Just a little bit about me. I think they've told you, it's all over the place actually. I am former CIA. I still do a lot of work with them. But the point is it's in the CIA that I learned what it looks like when people are lying. I have a master's in forensic psychology and education. I spent over 20 years with the agency, developed a screening program inside the agency, and we actually take this program, this Spy the Lie program, all over the world and teach people about lying all over the world. So people say to me, well, Susan, if you're teaching everybody what lying looks like, can't they
Yes, ma'am. Can I play?
Caption
Okay, I have to enable the caption.
Okay, please go to the 8th.
Okay,
Yeah, please
8
go to the
minutes.
8th minute. There's a one case study, 8th minute,
Okay.
8th and 9th
8
minute.
minutes.
There will be
Yes,
one
ma'am.
caption,
Yes.
one lady will be there. They will be interviewed.
Okay.
I just wanted to tell them the body language through which you can understand the issue. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, this girl, you just
consequences.
Would you be willing to certify in writing that you had nothing to do with these accounting irregularities?
Yes, of course. I'll sign it right now.
Okay, so this was a situation where there's an investigation going on in a company because the accountant had been cooking the books. And when we went in to do the investigation, we asked him why he was cooking the books. They were getting ready to go into sell the company. They were looking to raise the value of the company. But he said he did it specifically because he was told to. We asked him who told him, and he didn't want to tell us. So we investigated, we interviewed a whole bunch of people, Jamie being one of them. Now, I heard a couple of people say she was lying right off the top, right? And maybe she was and maybe she wasn't. But as that interview went on, were there times when you caught yourself going, no, I think she's being truthful? And other times when you said, nah, that's a lie, right? How do we know whether she's being truthful or not? What are we looking for in there? Let me ask you this question. Even if Jamie was being truthful, did she have a reason to be nervous? Absolutely, right? So how do we know whether her nervousness or whether her behavior is a result of nervousness or whether it's a result of not being truthful? How do we know that? That's what we want to learn, right? If you have somebody sitting in front of you for a job interview, or you're talking to someone in a company, all your employees in a company because there's been a major theft or there's even been a little theft, Do those folks have a reason to be nervous? Absolutely. They want to make sure you're getting it right. They want to make sure they're coming across in the way they should come across. So how do we know the difference? Let's take a look at a few things. There are 6 keys to knowing whether someone's being truthful or not, or someone's being deceptive. We're going to look at all of these individually. We've got analyze versus speculate. Okay, what do I mean by that? Can I look at anybody in this room and say they're lying to me just by looking at them, just by the way they're sitting? All right, manage your bias. Every single one of us in this room has a bias. We may know what that bias is, but we may not know. All right, it just happens. It comes across. People recognize it, but we don't see it. We want to recognize evasiveness. What does that look like when someone's trying to evade telling me the truth or evade telling me a deception? We want to be aware of aggression. Aggression is one of the major keys for people being deceptive. We're also going to look at convey versus convince. What do I mean by convey versus convincing? And finally, we're going to look at some of those nonverbal cues. Any of you folks who used to watch Lie to Me? That's what you saw with the nonverbals. That's what you saw with the nonverbals. So we're going to look at some of those. All right, so let's get started. Whoops, went the wrong way. When I talk about analyzing versus speculation, what I want to look at is how a person
Yes, ma'am. You want me to continue, ma'am?
Okay, I will add this video.
Yes.
See, in this video, there are some, what to say, they were not able to find out some merchandise will be missing. So the CIA will come for investigation. This girl which you saw in the video, look at the posture. She is sitting cross-legged. Second, she used to tap the leg. So that is the second cue that she is not talking about it. They will ask her, do you know that the records are being fudged by your boss? She will merely say, I do not know. I do not know. What she will say is that you look into my background. I have worked so many years. People used to like me so much. I have never committed a crime before. Something she will say. So from here, the body language experts will come to know that she is trying to convince. She is not saying that whether she has committed a crime now or not. She is not giving a direct answer, but she is giving an indirect answer. She is trying to convince. So this is a third body language, non-verbal communication through which the body language expert thought that she is lying. So the first thing, how she sat cross-legged. The second thing, she was tapping her, what to say, her foot. The third is she used to blink. Please remember, maybe in many interviews you attend, when you speak truth, people will not blink. But when you speak, what to say, maybe you are claiming false things, etc., people will blink many times. This has happened, and I have attached one more video also. Maybe you can just go through leisurely. Here, this is in one of the interview. You all know, very popular interviews are there. Many presidents and etc. They have also carried out through the body language. They have communicated many things through non-verbal communication. Okay, so she will say, suppose you want to arrest you want to put your boss in jail. She will merely say yes. So that shows very aggressive. You cannot say yes because you have to leave it to the CAA officer or one who is conducting the investigation for them to judge. You cannot judge on day one. So there are some 6 type of body languages cues exhibited by this girl, and then through that they just arrested her. There were also many cases in US where one mother killed her child. She came to the news conference, and she on her own she said, I used to treat my baby like this, like that. I miss her, blah blah things. She will claim that her daughter is missing. Okay. And she will say that I used to say treat her, take care of so much, etc. And the way she spoke, actually that gave many clues to the police, and eventually they came to know that she killed her daughter. So body language is very, very, very important. Please take care of it. And the last but not the least, if somebody is please ensure that suppose somebody is a right-hander, if they use a left hand and making a point, that means they are lying. I am a right-hander, and every time I use very right hand very popularly. Suppose if I on some occasion I use my left hand, that means that I am lying. So there are hundred, I should say, there are lakhs of ways in which to get to understand the other person. What I wanted to say is that please take care of these subtle things and convey the right things to the right person at the right time. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Indu, you can take over the session, ma.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you able to hear me, ma'am? We thank you for the detailed and a highly informative session on communication skills with all lively examples, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the excellent, outstanding presentation, ma'am. I hope our students clearly understand that education and attainment of skills are central pillars for enhancing the career, which in turn contribute to their economic growth. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Karthik sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, Shift 2, to propose the vote of thanks.
Karthik will be joining now. Thank you so much, ma'am. Just wanted to tell you that the many tips which you gave us was very informative, and many students would have been benefited because of that. Okay, ma'am. Now I request Karthik to take over the session. Was very informative, and many students would have been benefited.
You can talk. You can talk.
Okay, ma'am. Now I request Karthik to take over the session.
I thank our college management, secretary, principal, and the HOD for extending constant and active support in all our endeavors. It's my privilege to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. R. Shanti, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, University of Madras, who shared her knowledge and experience with us. I thank all the faculties, academicians, research scholars, students who actively participated and made this webinar a grand success. Thank you, one and all.